to do a really quick introduction to kind of start off this video. Obviously, based off the title, you already know what the video is about, but I wanted to kind of do a quick overview of some of the changes in my life. So pretty much at this point that I'm recording this, I'm 24 weeks pregnant. So my first trimester was quite some time ago, but I do have everything like jotted down over, like I recorded it all over the course of my first trimester. So that's what I'm going to be basing it off of. But I also just think it's important to kind of talk about all these symptoms because I felt that my symptoms were different than what everyone kind of said they were gonna be. And I didn't know like if it was normal for me to feel that way. And I questioned, I guess, myself a lot in my first trimester. So to kind of put that in perspective, that's kind of the purpose of why I want to record this video. It's also a really good way to start off my channel and kind of what I want it to be about, which is going to be about my pregnancy and being a mom, which is a big part of my life currently, but also to just kind of really be real on who I am and the things that I'm passionate about. So a few things about myself. I am 25 years old. Sorry, I was going to say 24. I just turned 25. I'm 25 years old. I am married to my best friend, and I'm a stepmom to a 14-month-old princess, and I love her dearly, and I am pregnant, and I'm also a therapist. So that's what I do for a living. So my channel is going to be consisting of all of those things. So if you guys have any recommendations on what I should do video-wise or what you'd like to see from me, definitely let me know, because I would love to do some content that you guys would be really passionate about. Specifically, just kind of along the lines of motherhood, becoming a mother, what it's like being a step-parent, being newly married, everything. If you want videos in regards to what I do for a living, I'm a therapist. I'm a behavioral therapist, so I work with specifically children along the ages of 12 to 16, 17, and I would love to talk about that. There's a lot that goes into behavioral therapy, so if you want me to expand on that, I can. So yeah, that's my quick introduction. It ended up being longer than I wanted it to be, but I want to get started on the video and all of my first trimesters. Okay, so the first thing that I want to kind of talk about is how I found out I was pregnant, how I got pregnant, all those things. And I'll try to make it really brief and quick. So, my husband and I had been talking about when we wanted to start a family. Obviously, my stepdaughter is quite young. She's 14 months. But we wanted them to be like relatively close in age. I had a sibling we were only 23 months apart. And we just wanted to figure out what the best timing was for us to have our own child. So, what happened is our goal was to get pregnant around the time of January of 2021. That was the goal because it was good timing for my work schedule. I work at a private school, so my schedule for most of the year is September to June, and then I have the summers off. So that was kind of what our plan was. Everyone told me that when you first get off birth control, sometimes it's really hard for your body to re-regulate itself. So, I'd been on birth control at that point for 8 years, and everyone recommended, before we really start trying to go off birth control. So usually it takes a little while for your body to re-regulate itself, hormone balance, and like make sure that you're ovulating and everything. So at the beginning of August was when I stopped taking my birth control, and I'm not even kidding you guys, I was off birth control for 1 month and I got pregnant. So I don't know what this whole, maybe it was just like a misconception, or maybe sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But I was off birth control for 1 month. I had my period one time before I got pregnant. And I just think that that's crazy. So a lot of that is a big reason why I didn't know I was pregnant right away, because the symptoms I was kind of having, or lack thereof, or didn't know if they were symptoms, or I just thought they were like regular pregnant or just regular period symptoms, was because my body was regulating itself after going off birth control. So I thought it was like all these things were normal, like it wasn't that out of the ordinary. So that's the little story about how quickly I got pregnant. So currently I am 24 weeks. My due date is May 30th. And yeah, so this is the first like little bit of my pregnancy journey. I'm almost at the end of my second trimester. So if you guys want me to do a video talking about that, I definitely can as well. So I do have everything like kind of recorded of what kind of happened in the first trimester, but there are kind of things now that I kind of recognize were pregnancy symptoms now. So the first thing is my husband and I were getting married on September 26th. That's the day that we got married. And about, I would say on the Tuesday, I got married on Saturday, and on the weekend prior, I was kind of just like feeling off. Like I just was feeling kind of sick and just like was having a hard time sleeping, and I was really having kind of this difficult time with heat flashes, which is I've never had before. Like it was the weirdest thing ever. So I was having like these weird heat flashes, but I didn't have a fever or anything. But with COVID and everything and all the restrictions, I had to not go to work. So that Monday I stayed home, and then the Tuesday I went and did a COVID test, and then I was kind of talking to the nurse while she was taking my swab, and she's like, so what are your symptoms? I was like, well, nothing really. Like I just kind of feel tired and fatigued, and I have these heat flashes. And she's the one that really told me that I should go take a pregnancy test, which at that point I hadn't even like really put two and two together. And I was like, what? I should take a pregnancy test? Like that just to me was so bizarre. So I guess at that point I was on day 29 of my cycle, which I guess in hindsight looking back that would have been an indication. Prior to being on birth control, my cycle was 24 days. But at that point, I really wasn't concerned because my cycle was 28 days when I was on birth control. So I was like, well, maybe my cycle is just trying to re-regulate itself. Like, who knows how long it's going to be until my next period. So there was like literally no alarm bells that my period was late. But looking back, my period technically was 4 or 5 days late at that point. So after that, I went straight to get a pregnancy test and got a pregnancy test, and like went home and took the test. And like I've taken pregnancy tests in the past and they've been negative, so I just like assumed it was gonna be negative. Like I did not think I was pregnant at that point. And I remember looking down and it was very obviously positive. Like it wasn't even faint, like it was clearly positive. My period had been missed at that point and it was obviously positive. So first, I'm not believing this. I'm like, this can't be true. So I go back to the store and pick up another pregnancy test because I want to take it again. As I'm leaving to go go to the store, my husband is like, okay, I'll be home in like 10 minutes. So I now come home and I'm like, all right, like I don't really know what to do. Like I don't really want to tell him unless I know for certain that I'm actually pregnant. So I waited like 2 more hours until I had to go to the bathroom again. I guess also this is like later in the day. Like this is like 4 o'clock. And then when I took the second one, it was like 7 o'clock. So this is like way later in the day. So the fact that my HCG levels were already so high, because they usually tell you right when you first miss your period to like, before your missed period to take it really early in the day, says a lot. But I then took it and was like, okay, it's positive again. So I come out of the bathroom. I like honestly really wish I would have recorded like my husband's reaction, because it was just, he at first like just, I don't think really knew what to say. He looked at me and I walked out and I was like holding both of the pregnancy tests, and he's like, so they're negative. And I was like, nope, they're for sure positive. So at that point, he was just like, wow, okay, that really wasn't like our timeline. And we like weren't trying. Like it's not like I was sitting there trying to get pregnant and like tracking my ovulation. Like I guess I kind of knew what my ovulation was, but it wasn't like I was tracking when I was gonna get pregnant or trying really. Like we just apparently had sex in the day, ovulated, and I got pregnant. So I could go on forever about this, but pretty much after that was on a Tuesday. On the Friday, I booked an appointment with my doctor. I went in on the Friday, and they make you take another pee test, and then she's like, yeah, it's positive, and then they make you take a blood test. So I took the blood test that day, and then we wouldn't get the results back until the Monday. I'm getting married on the Saturday, and now I realize I can't drink or anything. And so I told my mom right away because I knew that I wouldn't be able to keep the secret from her. But I had to be pretty sneaky about trying to make it look like I was still drinking, but I wasn't drinking. And still having like mock cocktails and stuff like that. Anyways. And then I got the call Monday that I'm positively pregnant. So at that point, that was when they calculated my due date to be May 30th. And so at the time, I was about five and a half weeks when I found out I was pregnant. So that's crazy. So as for symptoms, I look back now and I realize that my back was sore pretty much the whole time, like in September. So pretty much all of September my back was sore, and I really couldn't figure out why. Like if I didn't have any back support on a chair, it would be so uncomfortable for me, and I like couldn't really figure out why. Looking back now, it's quite obvious I was pregnant, and that was why. So I didn't have any spotting at all. So that sometimes people get ovulation spotting, some people don't. I didn't get implantation. I don't know why I said ovulation. Implantation spotting, but I didn't. At that point, I was definitely feeling tired, but it wasn't like out of the norm for me to kind of feel tired. I had a lot going on with work, and just my sleeping was kind of off, so it wasn't like shocking. But yeah, the first like few weeks, I would say like I was more tired than normal. What really got me was probably like around 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. I was having like this like cramping, not cramping, but just like my abs hurt, like as if I had done like so many push-ups. Like it just felt like I had done like 100, not push-ups, sit-ups, and it just felt like I had just done this crazy ab workout. So that was like pretty early on that I kind of felt that way. I feel like I was bloated the whole time, like my whole entire first trimester. Like probably 4 to 6 weeks was like when the bloating was like pretty prevalent, but I feel like I was like bloated all the time. Like I literally just felt like a balloon all the time, and it was a really weird feeling. Like it just felt like you know, had gas like all the time. But like going to the bathroom wouldn't, alleviate any of that feeling. So this is the book that I have. I got it for Christmas, actually, this book from my mother-in-law, and it's awesome. It allows you to, have different like pages and stuff to fill out, and I love it. It's super cute, and it shows you, so you can do like little write whatever you'd like about that day. So anyways, that's all my second trimester stuff, but yeah, pretty crazy. So the next little bit is kind of when everything, I felt like my symptoms kind of became more prevalent. So at that point, I kind of just didn't really feel pregnant, to be honest. Like probably the whole first 8 weeks, I was just super paranoid about something happening, or I don't know, just like if I even was pregnant. Like I know that's kind of silly to say because you like see the positive pregnancy test, but it just never really felt real to me until I went to my first ultrasound at 8 weeks. So when I went to my first ultrasound at 8 weeks was when I guess the feeling like really set in that I was pregnant, and I was petrified going into the appointment. But at 8 weeks, I would say when I saw like the baby and saw the heart rate and everything looked good, that was kind of the moment that I like really looked at my husband and was like, I'm really pregnant, like this is crazy. So that was kind of when it really hit me. And I'm sure like a lot of people feel like that, and it's not really that out of the ordinary. So week 8, I guess also my ultrasound, I found out that I have 2 uteruses, so that will be kind of a theme throughout my pregnancy. I have 2 uteruses, which I didn't even know until I had my ultrasound at 8 weeks. So they can't really do a lot of looking around now because my uterus is full currently, my one. But yeah, it's caused, I guess, a lot of concern for myself and obviously concern for my doctor. And we're kind of going through this pregnancy not really knowing if it's going to be a serious issue or not. So that I found out at 8 weeks. Also, my family has like a really high proportion of twins, so there was like this high possibility that I have twins, and I don't. I just have one baby. But it was a little bit overwhelming at first to think that I could have twins. Anyways, okay, so the next thing is everyone says that your breasts hurt like crazy, and that's like one of the first symptoms that you have. So when I'm on my period, my breasts are kind of sore, I guess. Nothing that out of the ordinary. But I noticed like the difference when I was pregnant as to opposed to being on my period was my nipples were more sensitive. So it was more of like a nipple sensation, and my breasts were sore. I don't think my breasts really got super sore probably till 8 or 9 weeks, but they really weren't that sore my whole entire first trimester, which to me felt really bizarre because everyone said that that was like one of their biggest symptoms was sore breasts. So that's kind of something that made me kind of question, is everything going on that's supposed to be going on? I don't know. But yeah, I would say it was probably like less than I think most people feel, but it was there. The next thing was I broke out like absolutely crazy. The reason I was on birth control initially when I was younger was to control my acne. I've had really bad acne like my whole life, and it was really bad on my face and my neck, like kind of chest area, my shoulders, everywhere when I was a teenager. So that's the reason I really went on birth control, and it really controlled it. When I went off birth control, I didn't know what was going to happen. But when I was pregnant, like I had so much acne at first. It was absolutely crazy how much acne I got in like places that I don't normally get it. So my acne is actually pretty bad right now. It got better for a while, but it's pretty bad right now. And it's right along here. And I get it like a little bit here on my chest as well. And like along my cheeks, which is very weird for me because if I do ever get acne, it's always on my chin, like hormonal acne, maybe a few on my forehead. But as I've been pregnant, it's been mainly on my cheeks, which is really weird to me. Another one is like a really red face. Like my cheeks have been so red, and it's been throughout my whole entire pregnancy that it's been that way. And I just have like these discoloration spots like on my cheeks, so it's really hard to tell because I'm wearing foundation, but it's worn off throughout the day because it's much later in the day. But yeah, so kind of bizarre. But anyways, yeah, so that's another kind of body thing that changed. So the next thing that everyone says is like the worst thing ever is nausea. And to be completely honest, I would say like I had nausea at 8 weeks, but I don't really feel like it was anything too crazy. I never got sick. Like I don't know, I just like never really had a struggle of like holding food down. I maybe felt nauseous sometimes a little bit in the morning, or there were certain foods that I would prefer over others, but I really didn't have any food aversions, to be honest. And I was super lucky because I didn't have morning sickness like everyone else talks about. So yeah, that was one thing that kind of changed, like kind of made me question like my symptoms, because it was a little bit different than what everyone said. But I had a little bit of nausea, but it wasn't anything crazy. So yes, I was a lucky one, that's for sure. The next one that I want to talk about is probably the one symptom during my first trimester that was the absolute worst, and it was fatigue. Fatigue was honestly one of the worst things that I think, like, throughout your whole entire pregnancy, that is just absolutely, like, your first trimester fatigue is like no other fatigue I've ever felt in my life. I have been tired before, or like had long days, but I've never been as tired as I've been when I still get, you know, a decent amount of sleep every night, and I'm exhausted every single day. The first trimester fatigue is real. I'm just gonna say that, because I would wake up at 6:30, I would go to work, and at lunchtime, for at least 15 or 20 minutes, I'd have to take a nap in my car because I'd be so tired. I literally couldn't function throughout the day without taking like a little cat nap. And then I would get home and maybe eat dinner, but I would, like, you know, my husband and I would like make the easiest thing we possibly could. I'd sit on the couch, and by 7 o'clock I was passed out on the couch, exhausted, and I would literally sleep from like 7 o'clock until 6:30 the next morning. So I'm literally sleeping like almost 12 hours a day, and my fatigue is just out the roof in my first trimester. It was ridiculous. My fatigue now is like leveled out. I'm still tired, but that type of fatigue I've just never experienced in my life, and it's absolutely crazy that you get so tired. I can't believe it. Other than that, I think that's kind of all of my first trimester pregnancy symptoms. I guess like last thing I want to kind of leave off on is my cravings. So my cravings honestly hit me probably like later in, I would say like 9 weeks onwards, and some of them have stayed really consistent throughout my pregnancy. So one of them is cheese. I am a vegetarian, so I wonder if that's part of the reason or what it is, but cheese has been like my obsession. Like, I could just eat blocks of cheese and be satisfied. Like, cheese and crackers is like my jam my whole pregnancy. Another one is orange juice. I drink orange juice every single morning, and I've never been an orange juice drinker in the morning. Like, maybe occasionally, like if I'm going out for brunch, but I drink an orange juice every single morning. It blows my mind that it is such a big craving of mine. And then the last one is salty chips, like chips in general. So like Doritos are a big one for me, or like the hint of lime, like Tostitos. Chips are like delicious to me, and I'm like a sweet person. Like, I love things that are sweet. I love donuts, I love candy, I love all those types of things, and all of my cravings have been salty. Like, I will crave like salty things or super cold things like a Slurpee or a milkshake. Like, I don't know what that's about, but those have kind of been consistent pregnancy cravings throughout my whole trimester, throughout both my trimesters so far. There's more in my second trimester that I've had more cravings for, but in the first trimester they were pretty much the same as what I have now. So that's kind of everything. I feel like I blabbered on a lot about a lot of things, so I apologize if the video is super long and everything, but I just wanted to kind of open up the channel to kind of what it's going to kind of be about, and hopefully you guys can take something from this and realize that not everyone's symptoms are the same, and y'all can just share a story of what our symptoms were, our experience, and yeah. So definitely let me know if you guys have any ideas of any other videos that you'd like me to do, and I will talk to you guys later. See you later.